Then we'll go to question number 5, Gerry Brownlee.
Madam Speaker, my question is to the Minister of State Services and asks what qualities does he think are desirable in appointees to boards of Crown-connected organisations?
Madam Speaker.
The Honourable David Parker.
As Section 29 of the Crown Entities Act 2004 records, appointees should have, and I quote, the appropriate knowledge, skills and experience to assist the statutory entity to achieve its objectives and perform its functions.
A supplementary question, Gerry Brownlee.
Madam Speaker, to the Minister, does the Minister think a man who's been described as, quote, an unmitigated falsifier of veracity and who is, quote, wrestling with the truth would be a good person to have on important Crown entities like the New Zealand Transport Agency, Auckland Regional Transport Authority, Genesis Power, GNS Science and ONTRACK? And if so, can he explain why the President of the Labor Party, Mr Mike Williams, who has indeed been described as an unmitigated falsifier of veracity, has been appointed to all those boards listed?
Madam Speaker.
The Honourable David Parker.
Madam Speaker, while I don't accept for 1 second the assertions in the member's comments, the appointments of Mr Williams to those boards, whilst not my direct responsibility, is something I'm aware of. But I'd make the point that we don't appoint duffers to the position of President of the Labor Party. And Mike Williams is a very able man. He's got extensive business and management experience, and he brings those skills to bear in his roles.
A supplementary question, the Honourable Dr Michael.
Madam Speaker, can the Minister confirm that those claims about Mr Williams were made by a man who claimed it was offered a place in Cabinet and subsequently withdrew that claim, who claimed that he gave money to the Labor Party to head off the Exclusive Brethren when he gave the money before anybody knew other than the National Party about the Exclusive Brethren, who claimed to have supplied a bribe to have large numbers of people eating at a KFC outlet, the claim to have offered Mike Williams a job when in fact the claim that Mike Williams asked for a job when in fact he offered Mike Williams a job 2 years earlier, and claimed that Mr Williams turned up at his house uninvited when Mr Williams was able to present the email showing that in fact he was invited.
The Honourable David Parker.
Madam Speaker, I don't have the Deputy Prime Minister's grasp of the detail, but I certainly accept his word.
Supplementary question, Gerry Brownlee.
Yeah, maybe the poor old chap made a mistake when he wrote the cheque to the Labor Party. To the Minister.
Order! The Honourable Dr Michael.
Party from there on.
No, just the Labor.
The supplementary question. Order!
It's unique to Labor.
Order.
Madam Speaker.
No, order. Supplementary question. Right Honourable Winston Peters.
Hang on, point of order.
Point of order, Gerry Brownlee.
Madam Speaker, that would be 2 in a row from the government.
You know that's not a point of order, Mr Brownlee.
Point of order, Madam Speaker.
No, I'm sorry.
It is a point of order.
I'm keeping order here. National had the last question. Otherwise, National would have 2 questions. Sorry, it was a point of order interrupted.
Dr Michael Cullen had the last question.
Sorry?
Dr Michael Cullen had the last question.
My apologies. Gerry Brownlee, my apologies, I was interrupted by the point of order.
To the Minister, does the Minister think that an important quality for Crown entity directors is that they should be honest and upfront? And if so, does he think Mike Williams was somewhat unmitigating in falsifying veracity when he earlier this year on the agenda program denied he told delegates at the Labor Party conference that it would be, quote, a damn good idea to use taxpayer-funded material to get around the Electoral Finance Act, only to be found out later on TV1 that there was audio of him saying exactly that.
The Honourable David Parker.
Madam Speaker, I repeat that the government appoints on the basis of capability to do the job.
Supplementary question, the Right Honourable Winston Peters.
Could I ask the Minister as to why he thinks there is some reliance on someone who claimed to give money to the Maori Party in that email as well, which was demonstrably false, I understand? Second, has a Karaka sales memory, which 4 people are prepared by affidavit now to swear did not happen, and that he was not in at the same table, or then that he gave $1 million, that he offered $1 million to Howard Morrison to stand as independent, which would mean there'd be $980,000 left over. Now, how many times does someone have to say things like that before one starts to come to the conclusion that maybe his memory's not so good.
Yes, Gerry Brownlee, point of order.
The manual makes it very clear that the Minister for State-owned Enterprise, Estate Services is responsible for Crown entities and has portfolio responsibility, which includes the appointment process and guidelines for appointments to state entities. That question doesn't go anywhere near those responsibilities, as my questions do.
The Right Honourable Winston Peters.
Madam Speaker, with the greatest respect, there was an effort to malign Mr Williams by the use of those words which I think are demonstrably unfair, not true. And simply, if Mr Brownlee wants to throw that into the arena, it becomes a questionable matter.
No, I thank the members, and certainly the supplementary questions were growing rather wide of the primary question and the ministerial responsibilities. Supplementary question, Gerry Brownlee.
Madam Speaker, to the Minister, were the self-proclaimed qualities of being, quote, a good administrator and, quote, articulate the main considerations when Mr Williams was appointed to the New Zealand Transport Agency, Auckland Regional Transport Authority, Genesis Power, GNS Science and ONTRACK, or was it that he, quote, doesn't take a breath without Helen say-so, or that, quote, he is a little too subservient?
Madam Speaker.
The Honourable David Parker.
Madam Speaker, I think that Mr Williams is a capable man, and I think he's acquitted himself well on those boards. I would note that we also appoint people to senior roles on boards who are clearly aligned to the National Party.
Supplementary question, Gerry Brownlee.
To the Minister, can the Minister give the House an assurance that no taxpayer money was spent on or by Mike Williams when he went cap in hand to Monaco asking Mr Glenn for more money?
Yeah, no, there is no ministerial responsibility for that matter. Are there any further supplementaries? Points of order? Supplementary?
Perhaps, Madam Speaker, I could...
Is it a supplementary question?
Well, I know it's a point of order.
Point of order. Gerry Brownlee.
You've ruled my supplementary out. Madam Speaker, without losing one of our supplementaries, can I reword that supplementary?
Yes, you may reword it.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. To the Minister, does he recall the repeated calls from Mike Williams on election night 2005 for commentators to wait until the South Auckland booths came in before calling a result? And does he think that may have been because Mr Williams was confident that sooner or later the Kentucky Fried Chickens would all come home to roost?
No, I'm sorry. That is right outside.